morning. I warmly welcome you to the International Open University Research Sessions iOURS 2022. Let us offer this event a beautiful beginning of, symbolic beginning of sound and light by lighting the oil lamp to the sound of the Magul bearer. To light the oil lamp, I invite OUSL Vice Chancellor, Professor PMC Tilakaratne, Professor S.R. Veerakon, Conference Chair, iOURS 2022, who will represent our chief guest, Professor Eba Osia Nielsen. Our keynote speakers, starting from Professor Arjuna Parakrama, Professor of English, Director, Center for the Study of Human Rights, University of Peradeniya, Sri Lanka, and Dr. Uppala Premaratne, who will represent the other keynote speaker, Professor Charlotte Nirbalani Gunawardena, Director PJI, Dr. Ramola Rasool, Deans of the faculties, starting from Education, Professor S. Kugamurthy, Engineering Technology, Dr. Prasanna Ratnavira, Health Sciences, Dr. Sunil De Silva, Humanities and Social Sciences, Professor Anton Piratna, Natural Sciences, Professor Rohan Fernando, Management Studies, Professor Nalin Abesekara, Registrar OUSL, Mrs. Vinda Jayasena, Bursa, Dr. Anur Wickramasinghe, Director Research, Professor S.R. Veerakon, Dr. Dushant Alvis, Committee Member, iOURS 2022, and two representing authors, Mr. Dilshan Nanak Karage, Ms. Harini Pereira. Let us light the oil lamp to the sound of the auspicious drums and offer a symbolic beginning to this event.
Let us all rise for the national anthem.
Namo
Open University research sessions underwent evolutionary progress to become what it is today. Let us watch some of those memories through a video presentation.
We shall now have the welcome address delivered by the conference chair of iOURS 2022, Professor S.R. Veerakot.
Good morning to all of you and good evening for some overseas participants joining us online. The Vice Chancellor, Professor P.M.C. Tilakaratne, the Chief Guest, Professor Ebba Åsia-Nilsson, who is joining us from Sweden, and the invited speakers, Professor Arjun Parakrama from Sri Lanka and Professor Charlotte Nirmalani Gunawardena joining us from USA. The Deans of the Faculties and the Director of Postgraduate Institute of English, the Registrar, PERSA, the professors, all academic, administrative and non-academic staff members of the OUSL, paper presenters, award winners, ladies and gentlemen. The Open University Research Sessions, OURS, is an important annual event of the Open University of Sri Lanka. OURS established itself as a high-caliber research forum that attracts not only researchers from the OUSL community, but also other state universities and higher education institutes, as well as overseas researchers, creating a forum for presenting and discussing valuable research findings leading to enriching experience to the researchers. OURS significantly contributed to enhance the research culture among the OUSL staff members in ODL, open and distance learning, and disciplinary-based research areas, which directly inspired our staff members to participate at other international and national and international conferences by contributing quality research findings. The International Open University Research Sessions, iOURS 2022, is a significant landmark of our uninterrupted tradition of academic sessions since year 2003. We had our first international research sessions in 2010 in honor of the 30th anniversary celebrations of the OUSL. The second international conference was held in 2018, and today we are having the third international conference. Having seen the success of conducting Open University research sessions in 2021 as an online conference for local participants, our Vice Chancellor, Professor PMC Tilakaratne, spearheaded in making ours as an international conference in 2022. We wish to record our thanks to the Vice Chancellor for his directions, leadership, and support throughout in carrying out our work to make iOURS 2022 as an exclusively online conference. iOURS 2022 is held on 10th and 11th November, today and tomorrow, on a fully online platform under the theme Contemplations Towards Next Normal for a Smart Future, Directions and Dimensions, with the objective of bringing local and foreign researchers to one forum. The OUSL, which is the premier ODL institute in Sri Lanka, recognizes the importance of developing the potential of its academic staff by providing them with adequate opportunities to engage in research. This would pave path to explore and validate novel ideas in research, innovations, and other intellectual activities. Further, it would contribute to national development in the long run. As we are aware, the essence of a university in 20th and 21st centuries have been the unity of teaching and research. Although we have national and international responsibilities to admit students and to teach them to the highest degree of excellence, it is by our research performance that we stand or fall, and our global reputations are made. Universities can make a huge economic contribution through our research. Much of the research we perform is commissioned by the governments, business and industry through contracts and grants, with economic productivity as an expressed aim. A developing country like Sri Lanka needs an approach that facilitates the generation, application, and dissemination of knowledge at the local level, rather than implementing solutions developed elsewhere. An emphasis on strengthening local capacity to generate, apply, and disseminate knowledge can help put into place an ongoing process of action and reflection. iOURS 2022 will provide visions into the latest research and provide opportunities to the researchers, academics, and practitioners to exchange their research deliberations and disseminate current development and insights in various disciplines. iOURS will also be a stepping stone for further development of OUSL's national and international advocacy campaigns. This year, we received 202 abstracts and extended abstracts, and of which 140 abstracts were selected for presentation following a rigorous peer review process. The abstracts received cover a wide range of areas: ODL, education, English language teaching, engineering and technology, health sciences, biological sciences, physical sciences, environmental sciences, agriculture, humanities and social sciences, management, and law. I would like to welcome at this moment our chief guest of the event, Professor Ebba Osio-Nielsen, who is a professor at the Victoria University of Wellington in New Zealand and the chair of the ICD OER Advocacy Committee. We indeed happy and honored by your presence. The invited speakers are Professor Arjun Parakrama. He is the Professor of English and the Director of the Center for the Study of Human Rights at the University of Peradeniya in Sri Lanka, and Professor Charlotte Nirmalani Gunawardena, a distinguished professor in the College of University Libraries and Learning Services at the University of New Mexico in USA. We are very grateful to both of you for taking time off from your busy schedules to deliver keynote addresses. A special feature of the iOURS 2022 is the panel discussions organized by the 6 faculties of Education, Engineering and Technology, Health Sciences, Humanities and Social Sciences, Management Studies, and Natural Sciences of the OUSL. The 3-minute thesis competition, 3MT competition, is also introduced as a special event of this conference. Another highlight of this series of events are the pre-conference lectures and workshops conducted on the 8th and 9th, yesterday and day after yesterday, by the research unit of the OUSL in collaborations with the 6 faculties. And as you all know, the organizing an event of this nature and magnitude required the collaborative and dedicated effort of all the members of iOURS 2022 organizing committee and the online working group. Everyone worked hard in a true spirit of leadership and teamwork. At this moment, I take this opportunity to congratulate all the award winners of OUSL Research Awards 2021, OUSL Best Educational Video Production Award 2021, OUSL Best Interactive Multimedia Award 2021, and especially the winners of the 3MD competition. Finally, let me thank all the presenters whose research and ideas will be showcased here, and all the participants for their participating by enabling us to make this conference a memorable and rewarding conference. I'm sure that iOURS 2022 will bring you renewed motivation and enthusiasm to engage in more productive research. Thank you.
The Open University of Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka's premier ODL institution, is over 40 years old. Let us watch some significant milestone in that journey of OUSL through a video presentation, which will also serve as the preface to the address by the Vice Chancellor.
Over a sacred ritual involving the heaven, earth, and linguistics, a Sri Lankan child begins the journey of learning. Learning is a culturally inscribed notion in Sri Lanka. Perhaps the reason why we are South Asia's only nation-state to faithfully record our ancient history chronologically and in the poetic idiom. Nestled in this beautiful nation, steeped in learning, is the Open University of Sri Lanka, OUSL, Sri Lanka's premier ODL institution. With a vision to be the leading ODL institution in Asia through excellence, efficiency, and equity in lifelong learning, we revolutionized tertiary education in Sri Lanka. Blending traditional and modern ODL methodology, we currently serve a diverse student population of over 40,000 from the central campus in Colombo and a network of regional and study centers island-wide. OUSL has inspired many a Sri Lankan to open up their true potential.
To address the gathering, I now invite the Vice Chancellor of the Open University of Sri Lanka, Professor P.M.C. Tilakaratne. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon to all overseas participants. The chief guest of the iOURS 2022, Professor Eba Ossian-Nelson, Deans of Faculties, Director, Postgraduate Institute of English, Conference Chair, Professor Shama Veerakon, keynote speakers, Professor Arjuna Parakrama and Professor Nirmalani Gunawardana, Registrar of the Open University of Sri Lanka, heads of the departments, professors, all academic staff members, directors of the Open University of Sri Lanka, administrative and non-academic staff members, distinguished invitees, paper presenters, award winners, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here with you today at the inauguration of International Open University Research Sessions, which is popularly known as iOURS. iOURS 2022 provides an opportunity for sharing knowledge created through research across various disciplines. I am particularly pleased with the choice of this year's theme, that is, Contemplations towards Next Normal for a Smart Future, Directions and Dimensions. This is an approach emphasizes the requirement for educators and researchers to embark on creative thinking to formulate strategies to overcome unforeseen contingencies. Therefore, no doubt that this conference aims at breaking away from the traditional models of higher education and opening doors to new, innovative, creative and visionary conceptions. Today, economies of developed countries are mainly based on scientific creativity and innovations. Economic targets of a country can largely be achieved through the dynamic and progressive education system that gears towards creating policymakers as well as scientists. Today, Sri Lanka needs approaches that facilitate generation, application, and diffusion of knowledge at the local level, rather than unquestionably adopting solutions developed elsewhere. An emphasis on strengthening local capacity to generate, apply, and disseminate knowledge can help put into place an ongoing process of action and reflection. If we wish to build a productive future for Sri Lanka, we must draw on the knowledge and capacity of all Sri Lankans as a matter of national priority. Only by drawing on the expertise, creativity, and knowledge of all our disciplines will we be able to meet the challenges we face now and into the future to secure prosperous future for all of us. In the past decade provides evidence that the higher education and research has significant return on investment. I stress this as we are all working towards achievement but for the sustainable development goals and education for all. Therefore, I strongly believe that this forum will be a platform to discuss and explore alternative solutions to complex issues which we are facing today. And this will also be a stepping stone for further development of Open University of Sri Lanka's national and international advocacy campaigns. While congratulating all the presenters, award winners, and thanking the organizing committee of iOURS 2022, I wish the annual research sessions taking place today and tomorrow a great success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Tilakaratna. We will now move on to aesthetic item. Mr. Kanchana Vijayatunga and Ms. Hansi Andara, two undergraduate students from the Faculty of Natural Sciences, will perform a fusion dance.
गजाननं भूत गणाधि सेवितं कपित्तजम्बू फलसार भक्षितम्
गणदैवताय गणाध्यक्षाय धीमहि गुणशरीराय गुणमण्डिताय गुणेशानाय धीमहि गुणातीताय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय भालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय भालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि
After that very beautiful and glamorous item, we now move on to the address delivered by the chief guest of iOURS 2022, Professor Ebba Osianielsen. Professor Ebba Osianielsen is a professor at the Victoria University of Wellington, New Zealand, ICDE Ambassador for OER, and also the chair of the ICDE OER Advocacy Committee. And to invite the professor, I like to invite Dr. Utpala Premaratna, the chairperson of the online working group iOURS 2022.
On behalf of the iOURS Organizing Committee, I'm delighted to introduce our chief guest, Professor Dr. Ebba Osianielsen. Professor Dr. Ebba Osianielsen from Sweden is an independent consultant, expert, influencer, and quality auditor in the field of open, flexible, online, and distance learning, OFDL. Her focus areas are quality, innovation, leadership, personalized learning, and the new normal. She is a professor at Victoria University, New Zealand, and the Cairns University of Technology, Lithuania. She works primarily at the strategic and policy levels, both nationally and internationally, and with many international organizations concerned with quality. She is committed to promoting and improving OFDL in the context of SDG 4, the futures of education, and the new social contract for education. Ossian-Nielsen works with the European Commission, the Joint Research Center UNESCO OER Dynamic Coalition, ITCILO, ISO, and ICOBC, International Council on Badges and Credentials. She is a member of the board of ICDE, International Council for Open and Distance Education, and chair of the ICD OER Advocacy Committee. She also serves ICD in various other capacities, such as the ICDE Quality Network, and has been a research leader for the global overview of quality models study and for blended learning. She works as an international quality assessor for ICDE and the European Association of Distance Teaching Universities. She is a research associate for the Global Research Project on Seamless Learning and Open Education and Open Science. She is also a research associate at the NVL Digital Nordic Network for Adult Learning, funded by the Nordic Council of Ministers. Previously, she was a member of the Executive Committee of the European Network for Distance Education and E-Learning and the European Network for Continuing Education. At the national level, she is Vice President of the Swedish Association for Open, Flexible and Distance Education and a member of Meeting Place OER and Job and Skills Coalition Sweden. She is a frequent consultant to national universities as well as to National Council for Higher Education, the Swedish Agency for Higher Education, and the National Library of Sweden. Ossian-Nielsen has been awarded several international fellowships and ambassadorial titles as well as championships, most recently in October 2022 from Open Education Global, where she received the award for excellence in open leadership. Ossian-Nielsen is regularly invited as a keynote speaker, guest edits several special issues, and serves on the editorial boards of several professional journals. She has published more than 200 papers, books, book chapters, articles, reports, and conceptual policy papers. Dear Professor Dr. Ebba Ossian-Nielsen, I cordially invite you to deliver the speech.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. Dear Vice Chancellor, dear rectors, dear professors, directors of research, dear program committee, dear all distinguished colleagues and students. Thank you so much for the kind invitation to participate at your and contribute to your wonderful conference. It's a great pleasure and honor for me to be chief guest at your prominent conference with a timely theme on the contemplation towards the next normal for a smart future, directions and dimensions. Education is a basic human right. It has long held a special place in the hearts and minds of people around the world, and for good reasons. Throughout history, it has been a source of personal dignity and empowerment and a driving force for the advancement of social, economic, political, and cultural development. However, today education is in a crisis, plagued by inequalities and struggling to adapt to the needs of the 21st century. It is struggling to adapt to the needs of the 21st century. The effects of this crisis only reveal themselves over time and often remains invisible. However, they are profound and will be felt for decades to come. Learning for an uncertain future, dealing with global complex and transdisciplinary issues, ethical considerations are critical, as is the ability to collaborate, take initiatives, and act in society. Essential features of learning to address the broad sustainability challenges facing our societies. Transforming education will require the collaborative commitment and actions of visionary policymakers at all levels: parents, students, teachers, and the public at large. Young people will be at the center of this effort, contributing their voices, experiences, knowledge, and agency. Also critical are inclusive and participatory mechanisms that accompany the guide national redesign efforts. Students, parents, teachers, unions, employers, universities, and civil society must be aware of their respective roles while being open to change. Connecting ethics and values to educational collaboration for the common good is an important and as the urgent need to bridge the digital divide and advocate for the inclusion of ethics and values in open, flexible, and distance learning opportunities for all. Going forward, it must be encouraged and supported at all levels, led by learners and educators around the world, inspired by civil society and connected to broader movements for positive change. Leaders at all levels, meta, macro, meso, and micro, play a critical role in creating a world where people, and especially leaders, are educated and informed about ethics, values, and act on those values to help build sustainable, just, and peaceful societies. Equitable access to knowledge resources is applied ethics enables the individuals and institutions from developing and emerging countries to become more visible and audible in the global discourse. In my presentation, I will highlight some global initiatives for a paradigm shift and a new social contract for education that aims for social justice and inclusion, in which open, flexible, and distance learning are a strategy that enables economical, social, political, and digital justice to enable personalized, collaborative, lifelong learning across the lifespan that focuses on health, well-being, inclusion, equity, and a smart future for individuals and the planet. I will share my presentation. I hope you can see it. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, published in 1948, is a landmark in the history of human rights. All 30 articles contains provisions that enable economic, social, political, and digital justice. Democracy and inclusion are core values. Especially Article 26 states that everyone has the right to education. The SDGs, especially number 4, is part of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development adopted by all United Nations members already back in 2015. It comprises the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which are an urgent call for all countries to take actions to recognize the ending poverty and other deprivations that must go hand in hand with strategies that improve health and education, reduce inequality, and spur economic growth for for all while combining climate change and perceived oceans and forests. We know that SDG number 4 is a special goal, and it is a special because it has an impact and influences and can lead to achieving all the others. That's why number 4 is so important. The European Commission, besides the SDGs, especially address active citizenship, inclusion and diversity, green sustainability, and digital transformation, and not to leave anyone behind as a core strategies. I will not go further into what is stated in the goal number 4, because I know that all of you are very much aware of it. But it is so important to always have it in mind, whatever kind of actions and missions and visions and we are dealing with. Also, the other initiative by UNESCO, the Futures of Education, and which is now called the Reimagine Our Future Together, a new social contract. It is very important because it is all over the globe stated that there is a need for change in educational system and the systemic change. So this initiative was introduced by a collaborative approach from all countries around the globe, from all kind of levels, from all kind of institutions. So it was a global consultation. And it stated a new social contract for education. And the vision is to aim to rethink education and shape the future we want, and to not leave anyone behind. The initiative is catalyzing a global debate on how knowledge, education, and learning need to be reimagined in a world of increasing complexity, uncertainty, and precarity. So the vision for the future of education is quite appealing, but how do we make it a reality? We all know this map of the world back in 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic, the outbreak in early March 2020 affected the whole globe and all learners around the world. And we know the effects and the crisis it made, not at least in education. So COVID-19 and the pandemic has and will change the learning arena and educational arena from now on and forever. There is no way back to the normal, which with some people argue. There is only a next normal or a way forward, bearing in mind this crisis, how it affected people in all sectors around the globe. For that reason, UNESCO immediately launched this Global Education Coalition to support countries around the world, to support educational institutions, teachers, learners, academics. OECD also took action immediately for building a resilient recovery and to emerge stronger from the pandemic. And they especially focus on the themes on equity in education, green recovery, resilient healthcare, the global economy, the power of youth, and of course, vaccination for the world. They also emphasize at least 3 core components, and that is about current well-being. It is about inequalities and lack of opportunities and future of well-being. Well-being has been a really important key in education. So it's no longer about degrees, exams, diplomas, etc., and content. It is about well-being and caring, because that will build our future together. They also encourage the resources we have for the future for well-being. Earlier on, we were very much looking at income and wealth and work and jobs, etc., etc. Now the main resources for the future of well-being is about the natural capital, the economic capital, the human capital, and the social capital. So that includes, and is very important in this new social contract for education, because the human capital and the social capital are the key factors for further development for the individuals and for the planet. OECD also looked at what the pandemic caused for all over the globe and how it also affected people's well-being. I think this picture can speak for itself, that mental health suffered and both loneliness and feelings of being out of society grow as the pandemic progressed. And that is why well-being is so important. So the pandemic has exposed the pre-existing vulnerabilities and created new ones. The stocks of natural, human, and social capital will need rebuilding after the crisis. A well-being approach calls for coordinated policy response. And the well-being approach to policy and recovery is about refocuses policy actions on the outcome that matter most and the most urgent priorities. To redesign policies and programs, taking a multidimensional approach, to realign across policy departments and levels of governments, and to reconnect people and the public and private institutions that support them. So it is important to harnessing interlinkages between well-being outcomes to strengthen the policy effectiveness and to have these triple win policy actions to support creation of sustainable, inclusive, and high-quality jobs, using lifelong learning to reduce inequalities of opportunities, strengthen mental and physical health promotion and prevention, using a whole of government approach to raise the well-being of disadvantaged children and young people, and to reinforcing trust by encouraging meaningful citizen participation. Now in summer, UNESCO launched another initiative about UNESCO and United Nations about transforming education summit, an urgent political imperative for our collective future. So what does that mean? Again, it is based on the education is a fundamental human right, as was stated already back in 1948. So how can we transform education and what is needed? They have stated some initiatives which have to be taken. First of all, education is a human right, as I now have said several times. And schools must be inclusive, safe, and healthy. Foundational learning is critical. We all know that educated people can take part in democracy processes to a much larger extent. Educated people are often more healthy, and educated people can take part in different kind of processes in the society. That's why we can't leave anyone behind. Learning is lifelong. It starts already in childhood, in kindergarten. When we talk about lifelong learning, most oftenly, we talk about what is happening after degrees, bachelor, master, or even PhD. But lifelong learning starts already in childhood throughout the lifespan. And education must promote sustainable development. It is also stated by UNESCO in this new social contract that all curriculums, all subject, whatever kind of matter, and all kind of levels need to address the sustainability development goals in all kind of means. And teaching must be transformed. The digital revolution is key to this transformation, and education requires public investment. As I said before, human capital and social capital is the key for this development and transformation. So it is why needed public investment in people, in social aspects and issues and development. This summit was supported by the European Commission, as well as the Dubai Careers and the Lego Foundation and Qatar Fund. So it has a global outreach. Open, flexible learning and distance education is a strategy that enables economic, social, political, and digital justice to enable personalized, collaborative, lifelong learning across the lifespan. that focuses on health, well-being, inclusion, equity, and a smart future for individuals and the planet. This is one of the only ways to achieve education for all. It is with open, flexible, and distance education. To educate all people, it requires to build one university a day, and that is not possible. That is neither desirable. So that is why open, flexible, and distance education is the only way forward. So congratulations to your university who are working in this area and leading the change. With open education and flexible distance education, OER is one of the key to achieve education for all. And we all know that the UNESCO OER recommendation was adopted by all member countries around the globe back in 2019. And from now on, although OER has been around since almost 20 years, but from now on, we need to implement it to also walk the talk, not just to work on awareness raising, but really to implement it. And for that, UNESCO OER recommendation stated 5 areas, and that is about capacity building. It is about developing supportive policies. It is about effective, inclusive, and equitable access to quality OER. It is about nurturing the creation of sustainability models for OER. It is about fostering and facilitating international cooperation. And actually, this last one about internationalization are embedded in all the 4 ones, the other 4 ones. And as we can see from those 5 areas, they are interconnected and they built on an ecosystem of open educational resources and its implementation. It is also stated that OER help member countries to create inclusive knowledge societies to achieve the 2030 agenda for the SDGs. But not just number 4, but also some of the others, as for example, SDG 5 about gender equality, SDG 9 about industry, innovation, and infrastructure, SDG 10 about reduced inequalities within and across countries, SDG 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions, and SDG 17, partnerships for the goals. So here we can clearly see how education and the SDG 4 has an implications for many of the other SDGs. I will just briefly touch upon some urgent needs which we have to address in the educational arena and landscapes. Those areas will also be addressed in the next coming conference by ICDE in Lillehammer in Norway in February 2023, because there are very urgent needs for transformation of education and build the way forward. It is about life-wide learning, learning spaces and learning places, OER, open education resources, the digital transformation, the demand and supply gap, workplace and practice-oriented learning, well-being and social inclusion, teaching and learning practices, AI, learning design and methods, and the symbols in the bottom of those pillars is about that there need to be both policy level, global level, but also actions by people. Furthermore, career guidance for lifelong employability, quality in education, micro-credentials, online assessment, sustainability, consequences of COVID-19, meeting places, communities for learning, upskill and reskill, digital storytelling and narratives. We have to change the narratives in the education and about open and distance education, because the narratives we are telling will help us to build the future. Even more, other actions is about dropouts from education and workforce, visual media and gaming, learning analytics, the past, present, and future of lifelong learning, co-creation, inclusive learning, entrepreneurship, senior lifelong learning, agile learning processes, and augmented and virtual reality and training solutions for that. So thank you so much for the kind invitation to be together with you today. And I would like to congratulate you to a very successful conference that will make a difference and set footprints. And I wish the best for all of you, for all of us, to build new bridges together with ethics and values at the heart of quality education. So let us walk the path together, each of us, you and I. We can make a difference towards the futures we want for individuals and for the planet.
Thank you very much, Professor Ebba Ossian-Nielsen. We wish you all the best with your beautiful endeavors towards higher education. iOURS 2002 now moves on to the presentation of awards, which is a traditional event at this academic conference. The awards will be presented via a video presentation. There will be 4 categories of awards. OUSL Research Awards 2021, OUSL Award for the Best Educational Video Production 2021, OUSL Award for the Best Interactive Multimedia 2021, and the new category, Awards of the 3-minute thesis or 3MT competition. We will now watch the video presentation.
OUSL Research Awards. Mr. K. Ketheeswaran, Department of Special Needs Education. Dr. T. Mukundan, Department of Early Childhood and Primary Education. Professor F. M. Nawaz Deen, Department of Secondary and Tertiary Education. Professor H. S. Ramukwella, Postgraduate Institute of English. Dr. D. M. W. Munasinghe, Department of Early Childhood and Primary Education. Professor G. K. R. Senadhiran, Department of Physics. Dr. R. S. Ranasinghe, Department of Civil Engineering. Dr. G. T. Madhubhashini, Department of Social Studies. Dr. W. H. M. A. T. Hera, Department of Botany. Dr. Roshan Pereira, Department of Botany. Dr. D. D. G. L. Dahanayaka, Department of Zoology. Professor T. K. Veerasinghe, Department of Botany. Dr. K. R. M. De Silva, Department of Language Studies. Professor C. S. De Silva, Department of Agriculture and Plantation Engineering. Professor V. Sivalogadasan, Department of Human Resource Management. Professor S. P. Karunanayaka, Department of Secondary and Tertiary Education. Professor R. Sendilnidhi, Department of Chemistry. Dr. K. D. R. L. J. Pereira, Department of Secondary and Tertiary Education. Professor K. Sarath D. Pereira, Department of Chemistry. Dr. D. T. Abesinghe, Department of Chemistry. Dr. I.U. Attanayaka, Department of Mechanical Engineering. Professor S. R. Veerakon, Department of Botany. Professor N. N. Punchiheva, Department of Zoology. Dr. K. M. L. A. Udumulla, Department of Civil Engineering. Dr. P. W. H. K. P. Daulagala, Department of Botany. Dr. D. 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 H. Alvis, Department of Chemistry. Dr. K. Vivekanandan, Department of Basic Sciences. Dr. A.K.L.A. Vijayanayaka, Department of Chemistry. Professor B.C.L. Atapattu, Department of Civil Engineering. OUSL Award for the Best Educational Video Production 2021. Professor N. Punchiheva, Department of Zoology. Mr. T.K. Disera, Center for Educational Technology and Media. OUSL Award for the Best Interactive Multimedia 2021. Dr. Saminda Fernando, Department of Zoology. Professor Gaya Ranawaka, Department of Zoology. Mr. J.P.P. Taranga, Department of Computer Science. 3MT winners. Second runner-up, ACR Amina, Faculty of Education, Open University of Sri Lanka. First runner-up, IPAUNK Ilippangal, Faculty of Agricultural Sciences, Uva Vellassa University. And the winner is Mathumei Sivaji, Faculty of Agricultural Sciences, University of Peradeniya.
3-minute thesis competition is an idea developed by the University of Queensland to celebrate the innovative research of PhD and MPhil students. We will now listen to the 3-minute videos of the winners of the 3MT Awards for 2022.
Every classroom, there are high, average and low achievers. These students are categorized depending on the marks they get in exams. But have you ever thought why certain students get good marks and some others don't? Among many reasons for students to get low marks in exams, one of the most important reasons is that they don't self-regulate their learning. Therefore, in my study, I hope to understand the self-regulated learning strategies practiced by students studying for GCE O-Level. The aims of the study were to find out whether there is a relationship between self-regulated learning and academic achievement. Further, it hopes to develop guidelines to strengthen the practice of self-regulated learning among students. In order to do this, firstly, I ask the students, the high and the low achievers, how do they study? That is, how do they plan, organize, monitor, control, regulate and evaluate their own learning? Both high and the low achievers agreed in 3 strategies. Number 1, rehearsal strategies. They both said that they memorized the important facts, definitions and equations from their learning material. Number 2, organizational strategies. Students used tables, charts, pictures and diagrams to organize their learning material in order to make it easy for them to learn. Number 3, help-seeking strategies. They sought help from parents, teachers and especially the peers when they did not understand something. But what actually differentiated the high and the low achievers were 3 strategies. Number 1, metacognitive knowledge awareness. The high achievers were capable of determining what they understood and what they really did not understand. Number 2, elaboration strategies. They put together information from different sources rather than just studying what is taught at school only. Number 3, effort regulation. the high achievers paid more attention to the difficult parts of the learning instead of studying what is easy only. Finally, let me conclude with one of the most important and initial findings of the study. The study found that there is a positive relationship between self-regulated learning and academic achievement.
Have you ever heard about inulin? Even if you haven't, inulin has been a part of your diet without knowing it. So, what is it? Inulin is a naturally occurring non-digestible carbohydrate. You can find inulin in wide variety of foods such as dahlia, garlic, onion, dates, bananas, asparagus, chicory, and many more. In dairy, meat, and bakery products, inulin can be used as a low-calorie sweetener, texture modifier, and fat replacer. Further, inulin can improve the beneficial gut microbial balance, thereby inhibit the pathogenic microorganisms. That means it can act as a prebiotic. Among the meat products, sausages are popular meat products enjoyed by the millions of consumers in the world. However, these products present some negative health effects. Meat products with higher level of fat content can increase the incidence of heart diseases, obesity, cholesterol, and certain type of cancers. Therefore, meat producers and researchers are searching new strategies to reduce the fat content in meat products. When talking about the fat reduction in meat products, the role of inulin comes into the picture. When inulin mixed with hot water and cool, it forms a gel-like structure which have the same mouthfeel and texture as fat. That's where my research comes in. In my MPhil research, I extracted inulin from dahlia and garlic. How? Using hot water extraction. Then fermented chicken sausages were prepared separately, replacing the vegetable oil with prepared inulin gels. Interestingly, the results revealed that sausages with added inulin had lower level of fat without affecting to the sensory attributes. Therefore, based on my research, dahlia and garlic inulin can use as a fat substitute in fermented chicken sausages without altering the meat quality parameters. Thanks to the inulin, now you can enjoy the fermented sausages without any fear. So, is it the sausage you are looking for? Thank you.
Hello everyone. You know how my childhood observation turned out to be a scientific research? I'll tell you the story. When I was a child, that was my grandmother who cooked delicious meat curry for us. And she had the habit of plucking 2 to 3 leaves from a particular plant in our garden and put it into meat curry. By observing this, one day I asked her why she was doing so. And she replied that she was making the meat tenderest for me. Years later, when I became a researcher on food science and technology, I took up this idea to check whether my granny's words are scientifically true or not. So this is what I did. That particular plant is never die plant. Scientific community called it as Bryophyllum pinnatum, Akapana in Sinhala and Sadekaracham in Tamil. So I took these leaves from never die plant and prepared different concentrations of leaf extract solution and chose the goat meat chunks and marinated it into these different concentrations of leaf extract. Then I cooked it and checked the sensory qualities. From the results, I found out that this leaf never die plants leaf tenderizing the meat. And then I thought we all have a habit of comparing. We compare everything and choose the best. So that I thought to compare this leaf extract with mostly used and commonly available commercial meat tenderizers in the market, and those were papain and bromelain. So I prepared the different concentrations of these three meat tenderizers and again followed the same procedure. I marinated the goat meat chunks, cooked it and checked the sensory qualities. The results were surprising. When comparing these three meat tenderizers, the leaf extract treatment, the never die plant, is tenderizing the meat without affecting the color and flavor. When papain and bromelain tenderizing the meat but fades the color and make creamy appearance in higher concentrations. And the most important thing is, this leaf extract less the water loss of meat after cooking. The water loss is less in leaf extract treatment than papain and bromelain. So that my granny's words are scientifically true, and this could be used as a meat tenderizer. Thank you.
Congratulations, all the 3-minute thesis award winners. We all enjoyed your presentations. I now invite Dr. Lahiru Vijayanayaka, co-chairperson, Subcommittee on Online Organization, iOURS 2022, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, Rasa. A very good morning to all of you. The research sessions of the Open University of Sri Lanka is a very important annual event of the OUSL calendar that is indeed much looked forward by all tiers of the university. However, there is certainly a lot of groundwork that was involved in organizing the conference from inception to reality. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the organizing committee, I'm honored to be here this morning to thank all those whose contributions have made today a reality. First and foremost, I wish to express my sincere appreciation to the Vice Chancellor of the Open University of Sri Lanka, Professor PMC Tilakaratne, for the guidance and motivation provided throughout the process of organizing this event. A very special thank you goes to Professor Ebba Osio-Nielsen for kindly accepting our invitation to serve as the chief guest of iOURS 2022, for gracing this occasion, and also for sharing your valuable insights this morning. I also wish to thank our keynote speakers, Professor Arjuna Parakrama and Professor Charlotte Nirmalani Gunawardena, for accepting our invitation to serve as keynote speakers of this conference. A special mention needs to be made of the panelists and the moderators of the panel discussions of the conference, and also the resource persons and the organizers of the pre-conference webinars and workshops of iOURS 2022. As esteemed academics, we are indeed truly honored to have your presence at this conference. A special thank also goes to the Registrar of OUSL, Ms. Vinda Jayasena, and the Bursar, Mr. Anura Vikramasinghe, for the assistance provided throughout the process of organizing this conference. I wish to thank all the authors who submitted abstracts and extended abstracts to the conference, and also to the contestants of the 3-minute thesis competition. A special mention needs to be made of all the reviewers and language editors for their intellectual input that helped shape and uplift the quality and rigor of the research papers submitted and presented at the conference. This being a multidisciplinary research conference, the immense contributions made by the theme conveners for coordinating the relevant submissions from the various conference tracks is greatly appreciated. Additionally, the conference being conducted in a hybrid mode, handling the sessions will certainly play a vital role in the smooth flow of the event. Hence, I wish to thank the session chairs, session hosts, and the session co-hosts of the conference, who have very willingly volunteered to assist us in coordinating the individual parallel sessions that will proceed. A special thank also goes to the Senate Subcommittee for the OUSL Research Awards, OUSL Best Educational Video Production, and the Best Interactive Multimedia Awards for selecting the awardees under each category. Being a new addition to the conference, I also wish to thank the organizing committee and the judges of the 3-minute thesis competition, while a special thank goes to Dr. Juan Ileperuma for his hard work as the chairperson of the 3MT organizing committee. A sincere acknowledgement needs to be made of the immense contributions made by Professor Gayatri Jayatilaka and the staff of the Center for Educational Technology and Media, or USL, for designing the graphics and videos that have made today's ceremony complete in many ways. A special mention needs to be made of Mr. Chandana Tennakorn and his team from SETMI, or USL, as well as Mr. JPP Tharanga and Mr. Kanishka Tennakorn and their teams from the IT division of USL for the brilliant work on efficiently handling the live webcasting of the event this morning. My sincere appreciation is also extended to Mr. Samit Daladawat from SETMI and Mr. JPP Tharanga from the Department of Computer Science, or USL, for maintaining and updating the iOURS 2022 website throughout the entire time. A special mention needs to be made of the PGIE and Mr. Chamira Chandraratna for facilitating and creating the Zoom links required for this entire conference. A special thank you goes to Miss Vindhya Angamana and the staff of the CRCO USL for assisting us with organizing in numerous ways, while our sincere appreciation also goes to the staff of the Vice Chancellor's Office in facilitating the venue for the inauguration this morning and for the assistance provided in preparing for the event over the last few days to weeks. I also wish to thank our undergraduate volunteers for this inauguration ceremony, Mr. Kanchana Vijayatunga, Ms. Hansi Arandara, and Mr. Eranda Karunadipati for assisting us with the performances at the inauguration. And a special mention needs to be made of Mr. Dhammika Varigajeshta and his team for making the beautiful floral ornaments that you see in front of us this morning. A special mention needs to be made of Mr. Lal Madhavategedara and Ms. Mayanti Jayakodi for beautifully comparing the event this morning. We truly appreciate your sincere commitment in this task amidst many other commitments that you have. The untiring secretarial assistance provided by Ms. Vajini Subodha and Mr. Chaturanga Lianage of the OUSL Research Unit over the last few weeks has been instrumental and is very much appreciated. Indeed, a special thank also goes to the iOURS 2022 Organizing Committee and the iOURS Online Working Group for making all this possible. I extend my very special appreciation for the excellent team effort of the iOURS 2022 Online Working Group for their efficiency and willingness to make iOURS 2022 Online Conference a reality. The efforts of Dr. Utpala Premaratne, Dr. Dusanta Alvis, Professor Gayatri Jayatilaka, Dr. HBP Sandani, Ms. Y.A. Samitri, Ms. Nilakshi Vikramasuriya, Ms. Vindhya Angamana, Mr. JPP Tharanga, Mr. Kanishka Tennakorn, Mr. Krishanta Lakuge, and Mr. Chamira Chandraratna is greatly acknowledged. Last but not the least, as the co-chairperson of the Subcommittee on Online Organization for iOURS 2022, I wish to express my sincere appreciation to Professor Shyama Veerakorn, the conference chair, as well as the Director of Research, or USL, for providing the leadership for making all this possible. Ladies and gentlemen, together let us all look forward for a very successful conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vijay Nayaka, for your kind words. With that, we have now concluded the official inaugural ceremony of iOURS 2022. Thank you very much for being with us.